As Malala Yousafzai said, education is neither Eastern or Western. Education is education and the right of every human being.
My name is Vasilika Chevalier. I am from Port-au-Prince, Haiti, and I'm 22 years old. My first language is French. My second language is Creole. It's not the same thing. People do think it is, but it's not. It's similar, but different. Um, Learning English is really hard. It took a while. It took 3 years for me to fully grasp, like, the concept of English.
Like Rasleka, immigrant minors struggle with learning the English language. People like Whitley Roberts, a city year mentor, work at charter schools to help assist the immigrant minors become more integrated with other students.
Well, in public schools, they have like ESL program, or even like specialized class, like I really hate the term special ed, but that's what they use, using those classes for students who may learn differently or who may need more help, or maybe they'll put a student in the class because of them having a language barrier.
I had to work a little bit harder than everybody else because one, I didn't know English. Two, I was looked upon a certain way because I'm an immigrant. And three, I did work harder and I didn't mind it.
Before coming here, because I had a question for one of my teammates last year, one of her students came here from Bieber. He was from Jamaica and he had a language barrier. And so I asked on his behalf, and they basically try to immerse students within the same classroom. There's not anything different necessarily because the work that they do in the community that they build here allows students to feel more confident. We have City Year in the classroom, and then there's teachers in the classroom. If a student does have a special circumstance, their, caseworker will come in the room with them, but there's not too much of students being taken out of the room to learn separately, because that can be isolating and that could play a large role on how a student is learning, because they're caught up in their head about, well, why can't I be in the normal classroom other than this language barrier? So I think they've done a really good job of immersing students within the communities.
I feel like I was treated different because I needed extra time and extra learning. So I went to school early and I stayed after school also to take these classes. And I also took summer school. So it's not like they treated me different. They just paid special attention because I needed the help.
So students, even if they did come in the eighth grade, being from outside the country or just having a different learning style, by the time they get into the high school, they've had plans made for them in order to immerse themselves within that community.
They also taught me how to suppress my accent. So there's this thing called code switching. So this is really not my normal accent, but this is my English accent. So I can switch off to my, Haitian accent when I'm comfortable and around other people.
Acceptance and support for immigrants can look different at various schools.
Last year I was at Bieber Middle School, which is in West Philadelphia, and that is about 5 minutes away from where I am at now. And so 3 of the students that I worked with last year transferred to this school. So although I work with high school seniors now, when I'm downstairs on the first floor, I get to interact with the students who are 8th graders now. And so that just seeing them and them coming up to me and talking to me, or coming up to our office during lunch to sit with me, shows me that I did build strong relationships last year with students. And so because of the achievement gap, like I said, we try to develop a model where we work with students in elementary school, in middle school, and in high schools.
In order to be fair, you have to include all grade levels to see where the success is coming from in both public and charter schools.
If you have a core member in the classroom from 3rd through 9th grade, a student is more likely to graduate high school. We up until this year in Philadelphia, we worked primarily with 6th through 9th graders, but we just this year went to elementary schools because we wanted to make sure that there was continuation within students. So we try to focus on that and really just strengthening with the resources that we have, the ability for us as a nation in individualized cities with the lowest graduation rates to make sure that they improve their graduation rates.
They wanted me to become more acceptable in the society that I was in. Well, social construct of the school. Since it was a performing arts school, I mean, well, mainly I went to performing arts schools. It was just a thing that they did. I didn't know that there was a difference. It's just that's the way I was taught.
Former grade school teacher Everett Johnson said, "We have to improve our educational system by not just throwing things at students, but having compassion, love, patience, and giving the students human contact."